All right, well, this is kind of part two because we've talked about operations with radical expressions in the previous section. But this one here, we're going to kind of focus on multiplying radical expressions. And of course, we always want to start with something simple. And that is, we're going to start with the square root of 3 times 2 plus the square root of 5. And what I'm going to do here is expand this. I'm going to distribute this square root of 3 across each one of those terms. So we have square root of 3 times 2. Wow, I said 2 and wrote a 3. Let's get rid of that real quick. Cut that out of there. And times that by 2. Okay. Plus, and then we have the square root of 3 times the square root of 5. Okay. Now I can rewrite this. I'm going to take this 2 and bring it over here in front of the radical. Plus, and I can join both of those underneath one radical. So that'd be 3 times 5 is 15. Alright. So let's look at another one. I don't know, we'll just write it down here. What if I had the square root of x times 3 plus the square root of x? And what I'm going to do is multiply this across again. So this time I'm just going to write the 3 on this side. Alright, and then square root of x times square root of x. Square root of x times the square root of x. So we can kind of simplify this down a little bit. Now, a square root of x times square root of x, if I write that under, that's x times x is x squared. But that will reduce down to 3 times the square root of x. Now remember, if I was to write this back into going from radical back into exponential, remember what we do with the exponents, we multiply them. And so we would have 3 times the square root of x plus, and 2 times a half is just 1, so we would just be left with x. Okay. Let's go ahead and clear the whiteboard on that. And let's look at another one here. What about if I had, not to forget that, if I had 2 times the square root of x minus 1 and 3 times the square root of x plus 4, and we want to multiply these together. So it'd be 2 times square root of x times 3 times the square root of x. So that'd be 2 times 3 is 6. And we would have the square root of x times the square root of x. And then 2 times square root of x times 4 there. So that becomes 8 square roots of x. And then negative 1 times 3 square roots of x. So that becomes negative 3 square roots of x. And then negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. And of course, now remember we said the square root of x times square root of x was the square root of x squared, but then, right, we're just left with an x. So I write 6x, 8 minus 3, these are like terms, 8 minus 3 is 5, square roots of x minus 4. Okay. So that's pretty much, after multiplying that out and simplifying it down, this is what we're left with.